Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Campus, or Clay and Meg's podcast about stuff, the only podcast sponsored by the letter 1, which is just an L pretending. I'm joined today, as always, by my good friend, Meg,
Hello, everyone.
and today we are going to talk about an extremely lukewarm topic, our favorite 6 out of 10s, meaning not the stuff that we've enjoyed that isn't specifically extremely popular or extremely well regarded, but it's still worth checking out, or just we just enjoyed it because we did. How you feeling today, Meg?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good. We do have to stress, obviously, these are our personal opinions, um, and a couple of them. I mean, I personally struggled with a couple of them, so I'm probably going to be adding in some things that I feel should have more acknowledgement. So they've done overall good with the small fan base that they have, but they don't have a large fan base. So I'm sort of cheating the system slightly. So technically, like overall, they would be sitting at a 6 out of 10 because the fan base is like tiny.
I think that's entirely fair. I, I was saying to you earlier, I could have just cheated for this list. I love horror movies. They always get 6 out of 10 unless they're extremely crazy, the new one that came out, Sinners. Otherwise, it's like a 6 or 7 is like, oh, that's a good horror movie.
Gonna say, didn't the only one that springs to mind that I think probably would have done better than a 6 out of 10 is maybe Cabin in the Woods. Did that get 7 or 8? I seem to recall that did really well when that came out.
Cabin in the Woods is a 7 out of 10.
Oh, nice.
According to IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, which is viewer scores, is a 92%.
Mm-hmm.
So you just kind of
yeah. I think that's the thing as well, because there's so many different reviewing and rating factors that you can go to. We've sort of tried to go as average as possible with them all, which has probably made that more difficult.
Yeah, and anything that has viewer aggregate reviews is oh, people who really like this talk about how much they like this, so it ends up going higher in the score there. But then when you look at critical reviews from review sites, it's okay, it's kind of middling. I love Cabin in the Woods.
It is, to be honest, I saw that movie. It's a very stereotypical, but then it flips it on its head. I think obviously that was the twist people liked.
Yeah, which is really funny because I don't know if you've seen it, but they just came out with an Until Dawn movie.
Yes, I've heard things, and there's people that are obviously reviewing it against the game, which, I mean, I think that's the issue sometimes when you have something a specific, weirdly enough, from a game franchise trying to incorporate it into another form of media that isn't a game. Yeah. They really seem to struggle with it, or is it just me?
No, they absolutely do. Because here's the thing: if the game isn't an extremely narrative-heavy game, and you try and make reference to the fact that it was a game, it becomes really hard to make that media transfer over to another form of media. I ended up seeing Until Dawn, and I found, you know what? First 6 out of 10 on the list. Until Dawn.
Yeah, well, that great way to roll into your list. Good job.
Yep. You know what? It wasn't even on my list, but you know what? It was a solid 6 out of 10. That movie exists. It is fine. It definitely tried to be Cabin in the Woods 2. Yeah, it's not bad. I just have questions. One part of that movie made me laugh in the middle of a movie theater. So, that's solid. That's a solid something.
But for people that don't want to discuss spoilers, close your ears for the next few seconds. Did it have anything to do with the people that just burst?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I watched it and the buildup was happening. It's oh no, what's gonna happen to them? And then he goes oh, I don't feel so good. And then he just explodes into grape jelly, and I'm oh my god, that was amazing. I just laughed out loud.
Apparently, they tried to do quite a few practical effects for that, from what I heard.
I'll be honest, a lot of the the practical effects look really good in that movie. Like,
Mm.
there's a lot going for that movie.
Yeah,
It's just not the plot. The plot's just kind of
yeah.
held together by string.
But I think that was the thing, though, wasn't it? The whole idea around the people being Wendigos wasn't to do with the cannibalism, which is what it's actually based off, not just game wise, but like mythology lore wise as well.
Yeah. So
So
the weird part is they so in the movie, all right, more spoilers, people. If you're very passionate about the Until Dawn movie and you would like to see it without any spoilers, yeah, turn your ears off. Come back
I
at like the
will
10-minute mark.
yeah, I was about to say I will actually put a timestamp in for anyone that wants to avoid spoilers.
If you're checking this on Spotify, I do not know how to do chapters yet, so uh, every so often I'll just be like, don't come back yet, and I'll give you a warning every so often.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Clay is in charge of Spotify, and I'm in charge of YouTube. So hence why we've
yes,
both. Yeah.
and I'm an old man who doesn't understand the technology. But so in the Until Dawn movie, there's like, it starts out with like, there's like a masked killer. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we get like a weird old witch in like, because every time they die, it's a time loop. That's in the trailers.
Well, the idea was the masked killer at the beginning was supposed to represent Josh's sort of weird hacker slash phase that he went through in the game, right? I'm pretty sure somebody said that the mask looked very similar to the one he actually has in the game.
Yeah, but the problem I ended up having is so like the first kill, like the first run of the night, they die to the masked killer. The second run, the masked killer is still the big problem, but then they've like introduced this like witch lady, or I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like the second run, but like the second like person is this like witch lady, and like all weird possession happens, and then the masked killer's still on the loose. And then the third time they introduce the Wendigo, and then we never talk about the masked killer or the witch lady again, and we only focus on the Wendigo for like the next 5 like nights,
Yeah.
basically, quote unquote. Like they just kind of drop the idea of like, oh, different kinds of oh, except for the time that everyone explodes. That
Yeah,
one is
I was
hilarious,
about to
and
say,
they should
yeah,
keep it.
they didn't they do like a oh, I can't think of the word that's coming to mind now. They did like a short collection of like other nights that they were being murdered by different things as well, and people were saying like some of the stuff that they were being killed by was quite interesting, and they just sort of glossed over it.
Yes, so at one point they just have a time jump because they come to the conclusion because of a thing in the scene that basically shows them how many times everyone else has kind of been going through this whole multiple nights in a row kind of deal, and they find out that they have like 13 deaths basically until people stop showing up, it looks like. And so they're like, okay, we have 13 deaths, and then we're like on the 5th death. And at one point, the characters just go like, their friend, a bunch of their friends die. There's 2 of them left. It's like, okay, we're just gonna kill ourselves. I'm like, all right. I mean, I think I'd spend time trying to figure out more about the layout and all that stuff before I just off myself. But okay, they off themselves, and then like they wake up, and some more stuff is weird. And then basically one guy goes like, "Oh yeah, no, I've been recording this whole time." And they're like, "Oh yeah, well it's only like the 5th death. We got tons left." It's like, "No, guys, that was like the 12th." And they're like, "What?" And then they find out that thanks to one guy recording on his phone all the times they died, uh, yeah, they just died like 6 times that we didn't see, and you get like a little montage of like some of the things that killed them, and they're all really cool. And then we just go back to the Wendigos.
Mm.
It's there's a bunch of weird plot bits that just kind of feel like they were put on the cutting room floor, and they're like, no, we just don't have time for that.
See,
Which leads,
I'm gonna throw something out here. I think something that they could have done, which might have been interesting, would have been to have done a prequel to Until Dawn, because obviously,
so
so because in the base that Michael finds out in the wilderness, he comes across that like weird, like secluded lab base where he finds information that they'd obviously been like quarantining people that were turning into Wendigos.
yep.
Why did they not explore that? That could have been
So
interesting.
I Did you see the Until Dawn movie?
I have not. No, I know
Okay.
what I know quite a bit of it, but I haven't seen it.
So I believe the Until Dawn post-credit scene,
Is yeah, it
or sorry,
does.
like,
Yeah, shows images of the cabin, right?
yeah, it might imply that this movie is a prequel to the cabin, to like the first Until Dawn.
See, I'd seen people doing rumors that it was happening alongside what was happening at the cabin.
Also entirely possible, but like it just,
That
mm,
yeah, that the guy that obviously explodes at the end, obviously who plays the counselor for Josh, is like in multiple places at once.
yeah, it's just this weird bit of like at the end of the movie they just show on the screens that the like guy who was running the show this time, it just shows like yeah the cabin and like Snowfall and a Jeep parked out front of it. It's like yeah okay, so either this is like the start of Until Dawn there, or it's just a reference, or it means something, or it means nothing.
Mm,
The movie's not doing fantastic, so it's like I have no clue if we'll get a second Until Dawn movie.
mm. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It, we never got the another Uncharted movie.
Thank God. I don't even want to discuss Tom Holland as Nathan Drake, okay? Not when there is a fan made Nathan Fillion version, which was so much better. I will die on this hill. I don't care if he's playing older version of Drake, he just plays him so much better.
Fair. Hey, Uncharted, a 6.3 out of 10, everybody. So this is one of those 6.3s out of 10s that we tell you not to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, if you like, I mean, for somebody who hasn't played the game and they just want like a fun action adventure thing, I guess it would work for you. But if you've played the game, which I suppose not everybody who may listen to this podcast will do, um, it doesn't really make sense for the overall lore of Nathan Drake as a character. I also don't think they chose well with the cast. They could have done so much better cast. That's my personal opinion, though. Like I said, Nathan Fillion did so much better with his fan made flick that he did on his own with his own money. I will die on this hill.
You know what? If you want to watch a fun action movie about someone who's passionate about history, do a crazy stunts in that, may I recommend Lara Croft Tomb Raider from 2001.
the
That
the
is a solid
the
bad
Angelina
movie.
Jolie one.
Yeah, yeah, it's a solid bad movie. I'm not here to tell you it's a good movie. I'm here it's a bad time you can enjoy.
To be honest, the one they did based on the game remake was fine.
Yeah, the 2018 movie?
Yeah, it was fine.
That's fair. I actually haven't seen that one. Fun fact, new one gets a 6.3 out of 10 as well. So, toss up I guess between Uncharted and Tomb Raider.
Yeah, that one was fine. Like I didn't have any major gripes about it. I can't remember the overall like lore of like as the story progressed, but the overall like aesthetic of what you were doing like gameplay wise was in the movie. So it wasn't like they tried to do a very close like one-to-one replica. So it wasn't awful. It was fine. Anyway, are
I
these
figured
all on your list, or do you want to start?
they were. We just keep
we've
walking right into 6 out of 10s, which I was like, it was really hard to find 6 out of 10s that I liked. Walk into a bunch of 6 out of 10s. All right, fair enough. Uh, no, I was gonna say for like my first 6 out of 10, I only did one horror movie because I'm like, I gotta pick one horror movie.
hmm
And out of like the 2 million 6 out of 10s, I chose 2022's Skinamarink.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that movie once or twice.
Oh yeah,
It's the one where it's from the kid's perspective, right?
yeah, it's from the kid's perspective, but like it's not like a first person perspective movie. Like you're not obviously like from the kid, like looking out from the kid's point of view. The camera angle is like a kid's angle point of view. Like the camera's really low and kind of pointed up. I heard someone describe this movie as 2 hours of looking at ceilings,
Mhm.
and I'm like, that's kind of accurate. It's a very good movie. It has a really good vibe. It's the movie that I recommend anyone watch at like 3 in the morning alone. Uh,
Spooky.
yeah, it is. It's really spooky. It's a really good time. It's a Canadian movie. Hell yeah.
There's not a lot of talking as well, is there? I seem to recall it was very like low, or like when I say low audio, I mean like not a lot of like actual people talking based.
There is not a lot of talking, and I believe the movie has like baked in subtitles because like it was recorded, but like by intention on some like older audio equipment.
Hmm.
So it has like because the movie is supposed to take place in like I think 19 like 99 or like 2002, like it's something like in that area.
Yeah, so they wanted to sort of keep that aesthetic by
Yep.
using the equipment from the time. That makes sense. Then.
Yep. I do remember though on one fan forum someone going like actually it can't so he because the director used his actual all the stuff in he used his own family home and all the toys in the thing were all his like childhood toys. Uh, but one of the people on a forum was just like, actually, there's a discrepancy here. I can't remember if it was like a certain Lego brick
Oh my
or a Lego
god.
brick piece remover was like too new. It was like 2008. And it's like, can't be that time frame because on this scene at 1 hour and 20 minutes, you see a Lego brick piece divider on the floor, and that just throws the timeline right out of the loop. And I'm like, it's a movie about kids stuck in a house with no doors or windows and an evil entity in it. I don't care about the brick divider.
Yeah, grow up.
Grow up, because these kids aren't going to.
Yeah, exactly. No,
But yeah, no.
that's a good shout.
Yeah. All right. And you've told me that you actually have way, like, this might be my run this time, but you have a huge list of your favorite 6 out of 10s. And you have them by section.
Well, yeah,
Or
you told me like a couple of days in advance, like the idea you were going for. So I thought, rather than me sitting there going, I would be prepared this time. So, sort of keeping in theme with your horror-based movie, my one of my movies that I really liked that I know was not greatly received and is sort of like down the middle of like people love it or hate it. Van Helsing,
Ooh.
the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing. I
Oh,
absolutely
that's so
love.
good.
I love this movie. It's just the right amount of like spookiness and cringiness and action and like just everyone is trying to be like there are people in the like in the same scenes like Van Helsing and all of those like the good characters are trying to be like so serious, and the people that are playing like Dracula and the vampire brides and stuff, they're just like, we're just here to have fun, okay? And they just take it to the extreme and it just makes it just so good.
Oh, it is
it's
so good.
it's beautiful. And to be honest, CGI wise for 2004, I'm pretty sure this came out in 2004. Not bad considering some of the awful things that we can see from Marvel. Looking at you, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Hey, the main issue is they're just people are just not given the time to do good work anymore.
Like the whole werewolf scene, still cool.
Yep.
Still
Yeah.
cool.
Oh no, the whole werewolf scene, the practical costume for Frankenstein is great.
Yeah. It's just
Uh,
yeah, it's just good.
it is just good. Kind of want to see watch Van Helsing now. I was like, oh, that's such a good pick.
Thank you.
Oh damn. All right, and then I will pick another one. This one has had a resurgence. People look a lot more fondly on this movie than people have in the past.
We will still
Uh,
count it though if it was
oh,
received meh
oh, it
at
was.
some point.
I think it was received just poorly, and it's kind of rebounded to like meh to like people who like it love it. Disney's The Black Cauldron.
Ah, that movie terrified me as a child.
I'm pretty sure that movie was my first experience with like the concept of horror, with the like undead army of the Horned King.
Yeah, my mum said when I watched that I was absolutely terrified of the king, and apparently for a couple of weeks after watching the movie, I had nightmares about it.
Jeez.
I've
Well,
watched it since, and I'm completely fine. But the fact that like this movie almost made Disney go bankrupt is insane to me.
well, they were trying to pitch it to be like their Lord of the Rings kind of like they got a franchise fantasy epic idea. They're like, we can make our own like large fantasy. I know it's a 1985 film, so it's like not because of Lord of the Rings, obviously, but like the popularity of Tolkien's books and stuff like that was a factor. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that this was a book series until like well after I'd ever seen the movie. But like, yeah, they thought they were gonna do something crazy, and I think the movie's pretty good. There's some
Hmm.
bits where like you can tell that stuff was cut and time was changed and it didn't come out just right.
Yeah,
But you can
like
actually look up a missing scene from this movie
hmm.
where his flesh melts off his bones,
Oh
and
god.
it's great. Oh yeah, it's terrifying. They cut that, and I'm so sad.
Oh my god. I think as well, like it was the whole idea that it was. I think the princess. I think was her name Elowin. Elowin.
Yeah, Elwin.
Yeah, like I think it was sort of around the time where I think she was one of the first princesses where she was like, yes, she was
Oh,
like
Alonwe.
yeah, a long way. Oh, that's pretty close considering I haven't seen that movie in a
That
long
was pretty
time.
good.
That she's like, yes, she gets rescued, but she doesn't end up with the main character at the end. They're just like friends and they like hang out and stuff, and she can take care of herself. She can do like magic and stuff. She wasn't like a
Yeah.
damsel in distress like
Actually, I
most
think
of.
she breaks him out of the prison cell.
He goes in for her though, right? I'm pretty sure he goes in to rescue.
I think she's like she's crawling. She's trying to find her way out, crawling through the ducts, and like opens a hole into his cell. Then she
Hmm.
goes. She's like, well, not here, and keeps going.
Yeah.
He follows her, and then he like saves her from like someone who catches her.
yeah.
But technically, she broke him out.
Yeah, I know they were like working together rather than her going, "Oh, please save me, knight," which is like I think at the time like it wasn't like a big thing. Um like you say 85. I'm trying to think of like any princesses around that time that wouldn't have fit that description. Like Mulan came out afterwards. Pocahontas came out afterwards because they're 90s. When did Beauty and the Beast come out? 90s as well?
91.
See, all the like the sort of like princess type Disney characters that you sort of think of that are like more independent and don't necessarily need to be rescued and they're a bit more like assertive are all after this movie.
Yeah.
They're just saying.
I think
There's just obviously something in it, right? There's something in the fact that she sort of I mean that and when did Star Wars A New Hope come out? Because she gives me Princess Leia vibes.
77.
Okay. Because she does like give me like Princess Leia vibes, like you say, like she was captured, but she was trying to break herself out, and she could take care
Yeah.
of herself. So I wouldn't be surprised if that sort of idealistic sort of thing helped.
No, absolutely. But yeah, that's my final pick of not final pick of movies, but final pick of animated ideas of just like the Black Cauldron. Like that is a 6 out of 10 that people look at a lot more fondly now, but like bombed.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm so sad. I would love more of these. I should actually just read the books. They are available. I could in fact get more of what I want.
There you go.
All right, what's next for you?
I mean, this rolls perfectly into my next choice because my next choice is also a Disney movie that wasn't well received when it came out. Treasure Planet.
I was so close to putting that on the list.
Like, why do people, or rather, I don't know, maybe this movie is better received now, I don't know, than it was when it came out. But why did people hate this movie when it came out, because this movie is fantastic. It has a unique villain that's not just a villain in the sense of like he's just an evil person, and he actually goes through his own story arc in the movie, and you could see it happening while the main character's also going through their story arc. They actually change each other's like stories for the better. Like, that whole thing was great. The animation, fantastic. Music, awesome. I mean, come on, you've got Emma Thompson doing one of like my favorite roles she's ever done of all time as Captain Amelia. Like, come on, man, it's such a
Oh,
good movie.
Captain Amelia is great.
It's such a good movie.
My favorite part about that is just like it's just Treasure Island
In
but
space.
tuned in just a way that they made Long John Silver like such a likable and redeemable person in this movie that it completely threw me for a loop. Where again, I watched this movie as a kid. I was like, oh, I want to like I could read Treasure Island, and then I read Treasure Island like, okay, Long John Silver's a dick. Like he's just a bad person. Like there's nothing redeemable about Long John
No.
Silver in the book.
But
And then you watch the Muppets version, and you're like, oh, it's kind of redeemable. It's
I think that's the thing though. Like he at the start he isn't redeemable because he has done horrible things and he's just pretending to be nice. But it's as he gets to know Jim that he actually starts to become a better person. If it wasn't for the two meeting each other, he would have just gone on to be the same dickhead that he would have been in the storybooks.
absolutely. Or he could have become Tim Curry. Either way, still still good in the world. You know what? We need more Muppet versions of movies.
We do.
Disney owns the rights to the Muppets and all of their previous movies.
I mean, we could have. I mean, Disney also own the rights to Star Wars now.
There you go. Why have we not made a New Hope?
We should just have all of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Muppet versions.
Right? You know what? Beauty and the Beast didn't do well in theaters. The live action remake. Emma Watson with like the animal as the Beast would have been great. The Muppets would have been perfect for that movie.
Great. It would have been perfect. Exactly.
Things that I wish we had.
I know.
My next one is in the exact same vein. I'm gonna go 1 year earlier and go Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Yes.
I was between them, so close, being like, because fun fact, I actually saw Treasure Planet for like my birthday. As a kid, and I was like, oh, this movie's so great, and that's what I was like, oh, maybe I'll pick that one because I saw it for my birthday, so like I really liked it. But then I was like, oh, but I really like Treasure Planet, a movie that I also think people have like come back around on, mostly because I think they really like Michael J. Fox, which is fair. He's delightful. Actually, a few days ago, my girlfriend and I, we watched the sequel to Treasure Planet, like Milo's Adventure or something.
Oh, do you mean Atlantis? You're saying Treasure Planet. Do you mean Atlantis?
Oh my god!
I was about to say. I was like, if there's a sequel to Treasure Planet and I don't know about it, I am going to have a breakdown.
Well, there was a planned sequel to Treasure Planet. I found it a minute ago while I was looking, and the villain was going to be named Ironbeard.
Oh god!
I was looking up Long John Silver, and I found this. I was like, oh, that's neat. But no, yeah, Atlantis has a sequel movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I haven't actually seen the sequel movie, to be honest, for Atlantis.
So the sequel movie is less a movie and more it's about 3 episodes of a TV show they were going to make.
Yeah.
And it just didn't, because Atlantis didn't do particularly well. They just kind of scrapped the idea of this TV show.
Yeah.
So like it's 3 like vaguely related plots of just like Dr. Whittemore goes like, oh, there's something happening in the Andes. You guys got to go check. It might be Atlantean and related. I'm like, why is there something Atlantis related in the Andes? But they go there, and I think like two of them are like, nope, not Atlantean. Then one of them is like in like Central America, and is like, yep, Atlantic runes here. So I'm like, what, why? Also, every villain of that movie, like, there's like a different villain for each of the like quote unquote little plots that happen.
Oh God.
It's the same man every time. If you like the character design, if you just take away facial hair from them, they're the same man. The face is the same.
Maybe it is just the same person, and they decided to try and disguise themselves so they didn't look like the person that they were pretending to be previously.
I think that's entirely possible because like the end of the last little adventure is like they go like into Norse mythology, and it's like, yep, Odin is trying to destroy the world with Ragnarok. And I'm like,
oh my God.
But he also looks like the guy from Central America, and he looks like the guy from the coastal town in Maine, and he looks like this man as well. And it's like, oh, maybe the plot was that Odin's been here the whole time.
See, now, at that point, I would have had to have gone up to Milo, smacked him around the face. I'm like, you do realize Odin was the one trying to prevent Ragnarok, right? Get your Nordic lore right, bitch.
The plot of the movie is like Milo's... Apparently it's like a janitor or something who thinks he's Odin, and I'm like, what is happening here?
Oh, God.
It's a terrible movie, but we're not talking about the sequel movie, even though we just did. We're talking about First Atlantis.
We're talking about the first movie.
A really good movie. I like it a lot. It's extremely solid. All the like the whole cast of characters that you deal with are great. The villain is just kind of like a fun stock villain.
The villain is detestable in the right way.
Yeah, mostly because like he's like just kind of doing his job, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna steal the livelihood of all the people here and take it back up top and sell it to the highest bidder. That's terrible. You can't do that. Well, in fact, I can, and I will.
See,
that's just kind of his like motto.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's what Long John Silver could have become if he hadn't have met Jim.
Yeah,
that type of person.
And if he stayed as charismatic as like the Atlantis villain, or just as he was in that movie, that'd still be pretty good. But I do like the just like extremely redeemed man at the end of that movie.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Two good movies came out like crazy. They came out a year after each other, and both were flops.
It is a shame because they were both really good movies. Because that's the thing, that they came around the time of what people are now referring to as like the renaissance of like really good animated movies that still hold up today. So like there's obviously those movies, and then there's you can switch over to DreamWorks, right? You've got Road to El Dorado, fantastic movie. Spirit, Stallion of the Cimarron, also very good movie. The only one that did extremely well, Prince of Egypt.
I do like the Prince of Egypt though.
Yeah, which is weird though, because like when it comes to like religious stuff, especially when it's like really like obviously the main intent of the movie, it's kind of like I'm agnostic, like I don't know whether I'm interested in watching a religious movie. They just tell that story so well that it's like, I don't give a crap if it's about bloody Moses and his parting of the red waves and the pretty God talking to him through a burning bush. Let's go. This movie, like, look, visually impressive, like the whole like orchestral band and like the choir singing that they do in some of the stuff, like the Deliverous song at the beginning, like West End shit. Come on.
Yeah,
it's
no,
so good.
That movie is just such a solid musical, while also being like beautifully animated, and the voice acting is phenomenal. Like, there's a lot of feeling in all of the lines. It's just everything is so good on that. We need more Prince of Egypts, but we're never gonna make more Prince of Egypts.
The only other movie that I would say it was within that Renaissance, which is a movie that I watched a lot growing up, Anastasia.
Shrek. Oh, fair enough.
No, not Shrek. No.
I stay I
That
stand
was
by that.
you do know the whole thing about DreamWorks, right? That obviously when they were doing Prince of Egypt, that was being Prince of Egypt and Shrek were being worked on at the same time, right?
Yep.
If you were being an asshole or not pulling your weight or doing something wrong, and you were on the Prince of Egypt project, you were pulled off that project to work on Shrek, and that was a punishment.
I do love that is a punishment. I'll be honest. They like Shrek 1. I'm not a huge fan of a bunch of like the sequel Shrek movies because it kind of gets a little long in the tooth for me. Shrek 1 is kind of just a solid movie.
Mm.
Like I'm not saying it's the 10 out of 10, but I think it's like a 7 and a
It
half.
would it's too high up on our sort of spectrum that we're discussing today, though, because it was very well received.
I do think a movie that spawned 5 sequels, I bet a TV show, I don't know 100%, and has like spin-offs. Please see Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. That movie is great. Um, but like, yeah, I don't think you could say Shrek, a franchise with that many movies, is like, yeah, it's like a 6 out of 10.
Mm.
I don't think people would agree with you. Like,
No.
they're like, you're just lying now. All right, what is your next 6 out of 10?
So I'm going really branching off from what sort of where we currently are with animations. I'm gonna go to a movie that I feel like I want to say it came out in 2008. I could be wrong here with the year, but it was a movie that, like, visually very impressive. The story was very like like a puzzle to figure out, but I still loved it anyway. Sucker Punch.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. I actually like Sucker Punch. I'm probably one of the very limited people that enjoyed Sucker Punch. I
I
feel like
remember seeing trailers for this, but I've never seen it.
it basically, the people that enjoy it are just like, it's basically like watching a video game. Like,
Okay.
some of the stuff that happens in it is very much like video game sort of inspired stuff. It's honestly, it's good though. If you can get a hold of the director's cut, because I think that's the issue. Like, because it's a Zack Snyder movie, so obviously he goes real like heavy into making sure he puts all of his lore details and stuff in there, to the point where he makes his movies too long a lot of the time. Please see the DC movie that he made, Justice League, as an example. His director's cut is like 2 movies together.
Oh, God.
But people watched that and were like, no, 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 this works because everything makes sense. Nothing is disjointed and confusing. It's just real fucking long. But having the director's cut of Sucker Punch helps to make more sense of what's happening in the movie, because they cut out some like important bits. They also cut out a bit that changed the rating of the movie.
Okay.
Because of a scene that happens at the end. But if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it.
Fair enough. What is it with Zack Snyder and needing director's cuts to complete his movies?
Because, like I say, editors come along and be like, all right, we're going to snip this bad boy up. And Zack Snyder's just like, why the fuck you be snipping my movies up all the time? What is wrong with this movie? And they're like, sir, this is 4 hours long. This needs to be
Yeah.
2 hours. What are you doing?
This is definitely the guy that you go like, all right, in the like, on the page provided, please write please write an essay on this. Man hands 3 pages back. I couldn't fit it on 1 page.
Basically,
I told
yeah.
you to put it on 1 page, please.
In 500 words, please describe this.
I had 1,200.
Yeah, why did you use 1,500 words to describe this when all you needed was 500?
I'm very passionate about the subject.
Basically, that's the problem, isn't it? It's a good and bad thing, but I enjoyed Sucker Punch. It was a good movie.
You know what? I will say, a lot of these things that like flopped, they technically made back their budget. like even Sucker Punch here, it says that like it had an $82 million budget, and it grossed 89.8 million.
Mm.
Like I know that's not like we made a ton of money here today,
But
but we did pay back everything.
yeah, but that's the thing. People would count that as a flop if you only make enough to basically cover your costs, which is like frustrating to me. Like unless it like quadruples the profits of like how much it cost to make the movie, then it is a flop.
Which is such a crummy like thought to have.
It is, considering, like you say, some movies don't cost that much to make. So if they're good with a small budget, naturally they will make back a lot of money. But if you have a movie that's got like a lot of stuff in it, like either practical stuff or CGI stuff, which is going to cost more, but then it's still just as popular, but because of how much the budget was, it doesn't make as much back. It's just, that's where I'm sort of like drawing the line of like, can we really class a movie as a flop if it was expensive to make, even if it only just made budget back?
Yeah, I'm not the one who makes millions of dollars on movies.
No,
So
me neither.
I can't say. I can't say how I would like to qualify this, but I think if you make your budget back, like that's a 6 out of 10 on a budget, in my opinion. You made all your money back. You didn't make a ton, but nobody went broke because of it.
Hmm.
You know. That leads me into my next one. Completely leaving the movie genre behind.
Excellent.
I have 2008's Spider-Man: Web of Shadows for the Nintendo Wii.
Ooh.
Little out of date because like people talking about how great the new Spider-Man games are. Here's a Spider-Man game that is just okay. The reviews of this Spider-Man, no one says it makes you feel like Spider-Man. It's good. I like it. The entire plot of the game is, it starts out pretty basic. You stop Venom, but for some reason you get the black Spider-Man suit again, and they're not really sure why.
Ooh.
And then throughout the entire game, you just get to make decisions, and the decisions like, is it a good decision or bad decision? Is you pick the decision thing comes up and it just says black suit or red suit. It just shows the suits,
Oh,
and that's how
okay.
you like make your decision. And the more there's like a few separate endings. I think there's a neutral ending, a black suit ending, and a red suit ending.
Okay.
I think the black suit ending ends up with like symbiotes taking over all of New York, and you are there, and like you're running the whole thing.
Damn.
Like you end up taking up over New York with the symbiotes. The red suit is, I think, you like get out with Mary Jane, and you like, I don't think you nuke New York, but you do something to stop it. It's been ages, but like that movie is a lot of fun. They had a bunch of upgrade trees you got to mess around with. You got to like upgrade your abilities, and depending on which suit you used more, like it could unlock more abilities. So like the symbiote suit was like way better at combat, but the like red suit, you like had more agility and more range options. It was such a cool idea. It it didn't get like a lot of traction, but it did come out on like PS2, Wii, and like the Xbox. I
Hmm.
played it on the Wii, so like swinging around New York by flicking the Wii remote was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah. What is your next? 6 out of 10.
Okay, so since we're sticking, I'll stick with games since you've started down that section. Um, I'm going to give a game that has a very small fan base. So with the small fan base it has, it was well received, but it's one of those games that like when you say it, people are like, I think I know what that one is, or they go, "What's that?" Like it was very like, it came out like very like quietly, so it didn't get a lot of like fanfare and stuff. But with the tiny fan base loved it, and I think it should be like given more acknowledgement for what it did. And it's El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron. Now, Clay, do you know the game El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron? without Googling it first.
You can't tell me what I'm doing right now.
Look, be honest. Did you know the game when I said the name or not?
No,
Good.
no, I haven't.
Good, because
But
that's the
I feel like
point.
I've seen this title before.
That's the point though. It's one of those games that's like so underrated. It sort of becomes a 6 out of 10 because if people don't know about it, then that brings down the overall like rating of what it would be. Essentially, in my mind, I'm sort of wiggling my way around the rules here, but it needs to be acknowledged more. It is the
It's
tale.
our podcast. We can break the rules.
It is our podcast. We can break our own rules. It is the tale of Enoch, who is a religious figure from, I'm assuming Christianity? I'm not 100% sure. Religious character anyway. And he is sort of tasked with collecting, I'm trying to remember the names because they're not technically Metatrons. I don't think they were Metatrons. I can't believe I'm going to have to do actually read up on the synopsis for this game, even though I've played it. Okay, so it's to do with like a member of the Council of Heaven steals pieces of God's wisdom and descends to Earth to be with humans.
I hate when people steal God's wisdom like that.
And they create a evolution of people. He creates a group known as the Grigori. This person is called Semyaza. These are all like what sort of weirdly well known, like even as I'm looking at them now. So he goes to Earth alongside Azazel, Ezekiel, Amoros, Sariel, Arakiel, and Barakel, and they become the Grigori, who accelerate human evolution and create human Grigori hybrids called Nephilim, which threaten to destroy the world. And Enoch is sent to Earth to recover the Grigori and prevent God from triggering the Great Flood. So yeah, that's the whole like story of it. He travels around with his guardian angel, Lucifer. Just pointing out. So basically, Lucifer is pre-Lucifer when he was a good boy. and then you also have Uriel, Gabriel, Michael, and balls. What was the other archangel? That's bad that I can't remember the other archangel now. Damn. But either way, they like you. It's so religious based. It's unreal. But like visually, the game is stunning. Just on visuals alone, like you're traveling around these like psychedelic landscapes, and then you go to these like highly advanced sort of like cyberpunk worlds, and then you're traveling to these like dark and like shadow based planes, and then hyper realistic like multicolored trees and stuff. It's like bonkers. It was like basically like what I imagine it's what you'd be like if you were tripping on acid without having the acid. It's like it's really good. Like there's so many different genres as well. There's like side scrolling, platforming, top down, racing, like fighting, puzzles. It's insane. They were just like, let's just make a game with every single design that anybody comes up with around this table, including all the different styles of gameplay, and we'll just put them all into one game. Let's do it.
If we just put everything in the pot, it'll
Basically,
taste great.
Yeah, everything in the pot and it will taste great. And to be honest, it was great.
It was pretty good.
You but the thing is, you never got bored because you never knew what you were going to come across next. I think that was the beauty of that game. Like, you'd go through these like areas and you'd be like, wow, that was crazy. And then like you go into the next like loadout screen and you'd be like, what the hell is this? Like, you're looking at something completely different, or you're doing something completely different. It's like, I visually remember when I'd gone from like the psychedelic like tree landscape that I was used to for like an hour and a half, and then suddenly I'm in like a cyberpunk city and I'm on a motorbike. I'm like, I'm sorry, did I put a different game in while I was blinking? What happened? Honestly, great game. Very good. Highly recommend it. People should know more about it. It's a good game. And even if you don't want to play it, watch it. Watch somebody with that does no talking and just does the game play it. It's just so good.
Fair enough. I got one more for video games.
I'll have to breeze through mine then because I've ended up with a couple from mine.
How dare you?
I know, I'm sorry. I came prepared and obviously I was over prepared.
I told you in 500 words or less, please fill out this sheet, and you come back
with 1,500 words.
So many words. This one is like pretty funny to call this one the 6 out of 10, but it like according to reviews, it is a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, specifically the one that came out on the Switch, which is just a remake of the first game.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever played a Mystery Dungeon game. They're like not Pokemon specifically, but like Mystery Dungeon as the genre. They're a lot of fun. You basically walk around a dungeon, you get materials, you try and make it to the end of the dungeon. That's the goal. And as soon as you make it to the end, you get warped out. And it's kind of roguelike. You get experience, or you get items, or you get stuff to upgrade to take on to the next time. But the entire goal is basically getting through the dungeon, and there's like enemies to fight. You can step on traps. The dungeons are like randomly generated, and the stairs are somewhere. And I think it's a very fun loop to play through. But like some people find it super repetitive and like frustrating. So like it's entirely reasonable, but like if you have a Nintendo Switch, it's like one of the cheaper Pokemon games to grab. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX, or if you for some reason have a Game Boy Advance and are super passionate and have a little extra money, Pokemon Red Rescue Team. Like that's such a good game.
Nice. To be honest, I think the only one I remember playing myself was, I think it was Pokemon Ranger that was on the 3DS, and you had to use the stylus to capture the Pokemon, and then they like followed you around and you could like interact with them like once, and then they were left, and then if you needed them again, you had to go and capture them again. I think that's how it used to work.
Yeah, that's how Rangers worked. Also,
yeah.
fun side series. We don't get enough Pokemon side series anymore.
That was the only one I remember playing, and I didn't mind that one. So
that's it. Didn't mind. That's a 6 out of 10.
There we go.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna put two games together now because mostly for like ones that are like ones to watch. So like they've got a small fan base anyway, but I think with a little more sort of like acknowledgement, they could like really go places and be quite good. Raven's Watch and a game called Wrecker. So Raven's Watch is a reminds me a lot of like how Hades plays, which is a very popular sort of like diagonally top-down view of and you go like around a map and you're killing lots of monsters and leveling up and getting stronger to go for a boss, and then you go to like another area and you do the same thing. With Raven's Watch you do that, but it's based around fairy tale characters and nursery rhyme characters, but it's like almost like the Brothers Grimm variation of them. Okay. For example, the character that represents Red Riding Hood is a lady called, or a girl called Scarlet, who ends up being bitten by the wolf, and she gets turned into a werewolf.
I hate when that happens.
So she's a werewolf. But then you have like the Snow Queens there. You've got the Pied Piper. You've got Beowulf. He's there with a tiny little like drakeling that follows him around. Wukong's there. Geppetto from Pinocchio's there. You've got Aladdin. There's so many like fairy tale nursery rhyme characters that are just like existing in this realm.
They're just there.
And it's just like really cool. They all have like really unique abilities. If you want to like get upgrades or level up, you go to the Sandman and like upgrade them. Like it's really cool. Like everybody knows everybody and they all have interactions with each other. It's really cool. The newest characters that are coming out soon that I'm really excited about is they're going to be doing Romeo and Juliet.
Ooh, that sounds cool.
And apparently they like have like unique buffs and abilities if you play them together. So I'm super excited. Super excited.
That does sound pretty rad. I think I remember you showing me this once.
Yes, yeah. Honestly, good game. Very good game. The other game, completely different, is a game called Wrecker, which allows you to create a character and you become the witch apprentice to Baba Yaga. And you end up with your own house on chicken legs, which you can completely customize from the ground up, and you travel the sort of the world you're in, and you solve like mysteries and puzzles. You can help the land, you can grow herbs and bake goods, and you can sell them and basically live a peaceful life as a witch who casts magic.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Which I thought was cool, yeah. The only other game, since I think you said you haven't got any more games on your list, right?
Yeah, nope.
The only other game that I want to very briefly mention, which actually is averagely ranked, which I really enjoyed, Resonance of Fate. Difficult as all hell to play, but so much fun when you get it right. And the story is like breadcrumb trailed through the whole game. So if you want to understand what's happening, you keep playing and it just keeps giving you more breadcrumbs. And the three characters that you play as are also fun and interact well together. That's a great game.
Hey, that sounds really good. I think you showed me Resonance of Fate once before.
Resonance of Fate, yeah, it's like a post-apocalyptic dystopian world where the Earth is basically like dying and everybody's sort of lifespans is accumulated into like a single crystal. So everyone has like a capped like 100 years lifespan. Weirdly enough, except for our three protagonists who technically should have died, but they've sort of like their pasts, which remain a mystery until as you play the game, sort of like have brought them together, and they're all like unique in their own aspect as to why they're like together and what they're searching for and what they're exploring for. So yeah, it's all good fun. And you get to like backflip through the air with a machine gun or a handgun.
Who doesn't love that?
Who doesn't love that?
I'll tell you, loser.
A loser.
A loser wouldn't enjoy that.
Oh my god.
Is that so? That's all for your game section.
That's all for my games.
How many things do you have left on your list in total?
I also did some for music and some for books because I was trying to branch out a little bit more.
See, you're gonna have to go through music right now because I got nothing for music and I've got one for book.
Nothing for music? Oh, okay.
I wasn't thinking about music.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, so I'm going to quickly, as Clay has advised me to, quickly scroll through some music. So looking at, I've got a album from a band that I listen to quite a lot, and I quite like this album, but out of all the other albums they've done, it's averagely well received. And that's by a band called Biffy Clyro, which is a Scottish rock band. And it's their Opposites album, which is actually 2 albums together. So I think it was The Land at the End of Our... Is it The Land at the End of Our Toes? I'm trying to remember what they referred to it now, actually, because it's... like I say, when you actually open up the album cover, you can see the... I gotta Google it. So it's The Sand at the Core of Our Bones is one album, and The Land at the End of Our Toes is the other album. And they both have 10 songs on, so you get 20 songs.
Okay.
And they're all just like a collection of like the type of they like to do they like to experiment with their music, so they'll, because they're Scottish, they'll add bagpipes in. They also like to blend orchestral stuff into some of their music. And they've also had, I mean, one of the songs, which is on their Spanish radio, they've had a load of trumpets. So yeah, I've always enjoyed the collection of songs and like the uniqueness that they've put in with them. That was always that. It's one of my favorite albums that I've listened to over the years. One, because most of the songs I like off the 20 songs I always play and listen to. Going to a band that okay, this is going to be complicated. So it's a band that had one of the members leave, so they've renamed the band. But I have to mention both bands. So there was a band of 3 girls, 2 sisters and their cousin, and they were called Wildwood Kin, and they were They were a British like singer folklore band that was very good. They did a lot of harmonizing music, and they had acoustic guitars. They like played like the drums and stuff. Very like cool, chill, like relaxing music that was really good. The cousin decided that she was going to step away from the band due to family circumstance. So the 2 sisters have renamed the band Field Lily. And they've released just one single at the moment while they're working on the rest of their music. But the girls actually describe it as a Studio Ghibli inspired song, which is adorable. When I actually read
That's
that, as
really cool.
But like, it does actually, as you're listening to it, it reminds you of like that kind of like overall like peaceful feeling you get when you watch a Studio Ghibli movie. So, but overall, very good. They still harmonize, they still play the guitar, and they play the drums and stuff. So if you like super chill, relaxing music with like really good harmonizing voices, I recommend those.
Okay, I'll definitely take note of that. Give it a try.
The last one, shout out to my dad for this one.
Shout out Dad.
A Welsh rock band called Those Damn Crows. Specifically, Inhale Exhale is the name of the album. I mean, I don't know how well received they are, because I've personally never heard of them before. So whether that means they're like not very well received, I'm not 100% sure, but I'd never heard of them before. But they do like really cool like music. It's like heavier rock music, but the singers are like really good at singing. Doesn't sound Welsh when he sings, which is surprising. He sounds more American. I didn't even realize they were from Wales until we sort of looked into where they're actually based. But they do some good music too.
Okay.
And that's all my music.
That's all the music?
That's all my music.
All right, what were your other sections that you still had?
I've only got books now.
Okay. I've got one, because I don't think we had anything for anime. I've got one anime.
Yeah, to be honest, I decided to not put that down, because I would have been here
Yeah, understandable. You just didn't want to look like a nerd. You're like, oh,
no, right. I would have been here for a very long time.
I understand you wanted me to look like the big old nerd, and
no,
that's okay.
To be honest, I would have just wanted to have gushed over Windbreaker, and that is popular.
I was gonna say, like, Windbreaker, yeah, that's not a 6 out of 10.
Windbreaker is like an 11 out of 10.
I'm gonna go with a series from 2021.
Ooh, okay.
Called Getter Robo Arc.
Mm-hmm.
It is a direct adaptation of the manga of the same name, Getter Robo Arc. The manga was never finished because the author Ken Ishikawa died before it finished, and no one ever decided that it ever be finished. So they adapted what was there into an anime. It's a bit of a rough looking anime because they very deliberately tried to adapt his style to an anime.
Mm-hmm.
So like characters characters sometimes don't look like they're on model. Like faces kind of shapes get a little weird, and it's okay. It's a lot of fun. Uh, it is the conclusion to like Get a Robo as a whole. So Get a Robo has like I believe technically 4 parts. There's the old show Get a Robo, there's Neo Get a Robo, Shin Get a Robo, and then there's this. Uh, I I don't think you need to have watched everything else to get this, but if you would, I'd say watch the shorter show Get a Robo Armageddon. Uh, Good show, a lot of fun. This show is definitely like a 6 out of 10 because it's it's not a, it's on its face, it's not a complete show. The book wasn't completed, and thus the show is incomplete.
Okay.
One of those things of like I wish it'd get more love. Please, more people in English-speaking nations watch Get a Robo so they can ever one day bring the manga over to North America. Damn it!
God damn it.
I would buy it. I'm telling you right now, I'd buy it. Please bring it. I'll buy it. But no, they haven't, and honestly, it's a Super Robot series that just isn't popular enough, so it'll probably never come. The anime got a dub. This is dubbed.
Hmm. Damn.
They keep trying. It just keeps not sticking.
Now, just for you, while you were talking, I did have a quick skim through some of the animes I watch, but apparently I don't watch garbage anime. I've gone through about like a dozen names, and they're all 7+ out of 10. So I can't include any of them on this list.
Meg sitting here being like, I only have the refined.
I only watch good anime.
Oh, thanks. I feel so special.
I'm sorry. I did try. I was like, maybe this one didn't do very well. Oh, wow, that did 8.8 out of 10? No wonder I liked it. Shit. What about this one? That did 8.5 out of 10 too. Oh, God.
Everything you watch is just good. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I sent you a picture of like the anime that of Get a Robo arc.
I will do a very, even though it was 8 point, I think it was 8.2 or 8.3 out of 10. Because it's on one streaming platform, I'm gonna quickly shout out Dororo. Fantastic anime. It's not for the faint-hearted to watch. It's one of those animes that, to be honest, I've only ever watched it once. I remember it vividly. And I'm sort of it's so good, but could I watch it again knowing how traumatic it is? It's very good though. Honestly, Dororo. It's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Dororo. Very good.
Dororo?
Yes. Not for the faint heart, but very good.
I was like, I thought you meant Dorohedoro, and I'm like, oh, I love Dorohedoro.
No,
That's a completely different show.
No, Dororo.
Fair.
Dororo.
All right. Well, I have only one for books, so I will let you go off with books first.
Nice. I'm going to actually mention. See, now I'm going to mention a manga.
Ooh.
Oh, I am still a nerd. Yona of the Dawn, the manga.
Oh, you've never mentioned Yona of the Dawn ever.
I know, right? It's a good manga. I wish they'd carried on with the anime because it would have been so good. I rest my case. Got 10.
It's just good.
It's just good.
This one is a bit tougher because I was like, oh, what's an author I haven't read in eons? An author called Garth Nix.
Okay.
He did a bunch of fantasy novels. and unfortunately, they're all well received. Damn it, Garth! Stop writing good stuff. Apparently, they're
Oh.
all like young adult fantasy though, so like
Mhm.
in that vein of like, oh yeah, like if you're an adult and you read it, you might be kind of like, this is kind of, eh. But as a kid, I remember reading a book called Garth Nix's The Fall in a series called The Seventh Tower. Luckily, The Fall is the first book, so good start point for you.
Mhm.
Uh, like it was a really interesting fantasy book. It had a bunch of neat like imagery in that. I don't want to go too much detail because like it, it's a book. You kind of like you read it and you'll be spoiled if I tell you anything. Uh, but basically, there's a society of magic, uh, and the world is complete darkness.
Ooh.
But uh, one except apparently there are people who live out there in the darkness. Dun dun dun.
Ooh.
Uh, and like there's basically like two, I believe, only two like civilizations. Like there's the people who like live in like this magical like city or castle using magic to like have light, and then there's the people who live where there is no light. And it tackles that in some good ways, in some not great ways. It's a mid 2000s book. It has its issues, but like I like it a lot. It was a lot of fun. I was gonna be like, oh, I'll talk about like Garth Nix's Sabriel. That was a really good book. Yep, it is a really good book. People like that book. So it's not a 6 out of 10. It's a good book.
Oh no.
How dare he? How dare this man write good books, or at least solid books, very solid books that are enjoyable to read. Knock it off. And that is my list of 6 out of 10s. I thought, hey, people should like maybe talk about a little bit more. They're just good times.
Nice. So I've got two left, and then we are
My
finished.
God. Oh my
So
God.
sticking with your see, this one's sort of like tricky because it was well received, but I'm sort of like bringing it up because it was dropped, and this will explain why. So, Lockwood and Co. by Jonathan Stroud was a 4-part book series about teenagers who have to fight ghosts. Because when you're born, up until before you become an adult, you are like hypersensitive, depending on what sort of skills you possess. You're hypersensitive to be able to see, hear, or in very, very rare circumstances, communicate with ghosts. And the world is not, it doesn't quite go into why straight away, but the sort of this like weirdly like Victorian-esque modern-ish style world that they live in is like overrun with ghosts. During the day, fine, people, adults are able to go out, do their jobs, blah, blah, blah. But then there's a curfew point where everyone has to be indoors. They have to like barricade themselves in. They have to put lavender everywhere. They have to put salt down, like silver line the doors and everything. Basically, like ghost proof their homes, because at night that's when they come out, and that's when the kids go out for their work, which is to go and hunt ghosts and take them down, and they work for agencies. Lockwood and Co. is a tiny agency run literally by a teenager, which is Lockwood. And he also has his two companions with him. One of them is who you sort of like start the story with. And her name is, I'm trying to remember what her name is now. That's really bad. Lucy, that's it. So you follow her sort of like vision, like her point of view, going through like where she joins the agency. She joins up with Lockwood, his first name is Anthony, and his other companion, which is George. And they live in Anthony's parents' house. His parents passed away. which is brought up in the other books. And the three of them work together to hunt ghosts and basically do their own jobs. And like it was fairly well received. It got, I think the books were well received enough that they did a series of the books on Netflix. They did one season where they did book 1 and book 2. And I remember when they first announced it, I was like, oh my god, this is what it's like to realize that something you love is going to be adapted, and it could be shit and you could be absolutely devastated. I was like, this is what this feels like, because I'd never experienced it before. And I was pleasantly surprised. While the person they got to portray Anthony Lockwood didn't quite look like the illustrator's like visual representation of him, he had his mannerisms down to a T. And after a while, I just got used to the fact of the way he looked. Lucy was just perfect from the get-go, and so was George, to be honest. So it was very easy for me to just settle in to how the characters were. And considering they'd basically crammed 2 books into 8 episodes, so like 4 hours per book, they'd done a good job of like keeping it to the point where everything was making sense. It was sort of like there were 1 or 2 cuts, but it wasn't like major cuts that made this like took away from the story. It was keeping the main story parts. So overall, it worked. It was good. Like, it was well received. I think it got like 7 out of 10, but it was like really well received on Rotten Tomatoes. And then what did Netflix do? Cancelled it. Because Netflix likes to cancel things that are good. Even though all they had to technically do is follow the same formula they did for the first season, which is to put the last 2 books into 1 more season. And they would have been done with it, and they wouldn't have had to have touched it again. I was fuming.
Sorry.
Absolutely fuming. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like this thing that was like it's weird. Like I say, it doesn't really like. It's weird to try and explain why this counts, but I want to bring this up that like people thought it was good, but the company didn't think it was good enough. So they axed it.
Huh. That is weird.
Because people are like, was this like a flop? Why did they cancel it? And lots of people that like watched it, like the fans that watched it and liked it, like it wasn't a flop. So everyone's like, so why did they cancel it? And it's like, well, we don't know why they cancelled it. They just cancelled it. It's like a weird...
It just kinda happened.
Yeah, it's just a weird, mysterious thing of like, it wasn't terrible, and like, you know, it was well received. Maybe it wasn't like Oscar worthy, but it wasn't like total garbage. So why cancel it?
Yeah. Because it didn't make $2 billion.
Probably. Although it was around the time that Netflix went through and were just like binge canceling so much stuff.
Yeah, they go through these in phases where they announce a bunch of stuff and then they like axe a bunch of stuff. That was a pain in the butt.
So yeah, I was a little upset, not gonna lie. Whether they're able to do season 2, I have no idea. But you know, we can hope if someone else wants to take it up. But it's, you know, it's just a waiting game. And then my last one is something that's new to me. And is like when I think of like other authors that do the type of genre that this author does, they're quite like on the quieter, smaller scale. So it's a little bit like what El Shaddai is. Like, it's got a small fan base that really likes it, but it's not like Lee Child levels of like insanity. But there are rumors in the pipeline that they do want to adapt this into a TV series or movie. So there's still hope for it yet. And that is a series, a book series, evolving around a detective called Washington Poe. and it's by a author called M.W. Craven. So this series is actually another shout out to my dad. He's probably going to love all these shout outs. He actually gave me the first book of this to read, and I'm actually really enjoying it. It is not the type of genre I would read, like, at all. I'm not a crime detective person, like, when it comes to, like, my style of books. I'm, like, Lockwood and Co. I'm a fantasy girl, as far away from realism as you can get, because I want to escape. That whole thing is how I choose my books. But
Fair.
the way that M.W. Craven writes the book, it's like so easy to just like fall into how the characters are like acting and feeling, and there's like some really funny moments, and the way that they're describing like where they're from, because it's based in Cumbria, which is also known as the Lake District, which you all know, Clay, but podcast people will not know, though I did briefly touch on this in our first episode, is probably my favourite place in the UK, and if I could afford to move there and live there, I would be doing that already. So the idea of like this taking place in one of my favourite places in the world, and it's just like there's just this fantastic like mystery unfolding. It's very cool. The characters are like very like likable and easy to get to know and understand. I mean, one of the characters, there's a girl there called her surname's Bradshaw. She has to be autistic because of how she sort of like how her brain operates. Like, she's highly intelligent, she's not good with social cues, she doesn't get sarcasm. If you say something as a joke, she will take it directly. So you have to sort of be like careful what you say around her. But like, she's brilliant. Like, she's just like the stuff that she comes up with and the things she says. It's fantastic. I can't wait to see like as the books go on, like the progression of all these characters.
I mean, that's the best part about the stuff that's still ongoing, like stuff. It can get better, and more people might find out about it, and it might like get a better review. And it might not be the 6 out of 10. It might end up being an 8 out of 10.
Like I said, there's rumors in the works that like there may be a TV series or a movie or something deal for the series, which would be fantastic because that would bring it to a lot more people. And you know, I there's quite a few actors that I could see in some of the roles for the show.
Hell yeah. Well, here's hoping.
Fingers crossed. Like, it would be good to have, especially like if they, I would obviously they'd have to shoot quite a lot of the stuff in the Lake District. So it'd be great to be able to see it on TV, but my God, would it make it difficult because it would be even more busy when I go up there. It's bad enough that they've shot things like Star Wars and stuff up at the Lake Districts. Like, come on, man.
It's one of those things like the monkey paw. It's like, oh, it'd be great if they do more. Okay, well, it's going to happen here. What's going to make it busy? I know.
It's like, no!
How could it happen to me?
No.
Well, I think that's probably us then for time.
That is us. We've done a mega episode today.
The mega episode. The mega 6 out of 10 episode.
Exactly.
Well, thank you everyone for coming and checking out. I hope you all had a good time today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Or subscribe and follow on... I forgot the name of Spotify. Oh Spotify completely avoid... Like, it just went... Ooh, gone. Well,
everyone...
wonderful time.
Thank you. But everyone should totally let us know some of their favourite 6 out of 10s. It'd be good. Spread the word. We could together we could raise these 6 out of 10s to 7 out of 10s.
Yeah, more people who see it, and more people will love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we need. Or we could do the worst thing. It's like we show it to people and becomes 5 out of 10s.
Yeah, I mean, depending on what energy we want to throw out there, we might be like, we want to make this rating even worse. Let's do it together. Or we could
bring it to the bottom.
we could work together to make it rise or make it fall.
Only the coolest people love 5 out of 10s. Well, thank you again, everyone, for stopping by the campfire of the Campus podcast. Have a
Thanks,
good day.
guys. See you.
Bye.
Bye.